I think the key thing with any of this stuff is the preparation. So what is a typical time frame? There's if you say a piece of string, all of that stuff, but actually if you look at one of our pitch documents, it's going to say something like 6 to 8 months for a whole process start to finish. Now that is assuming everything is pretty smooth. I think yes, in reality, there's an indeterminate amount of prep time at the start, depends how ready you are. Then it's actually dependent on the buyers, the engagement you get from the buyers, the investors. That phase we will always flex, depending on the audience and what we're getting back from them, the feedback. We need to get the best results. So we're not going to cut people out just because we want to run a 6-week process to offers. So that back end then, the due diligence phase from offer acceptance to completion, totally down to seller preparation in terms of that time frame. So I think a good rule of thumb is going to be 3-4 months, something like that. You have to factor in human things like holidays. So if you're trying to do due diligence like we were over summer holidays, actually you've got, realistically you've got to add 4 weeks in there, if you're being honest with it. So yeah, I mean, I think the quickest I've ever seen it, probably 3 weeks. In fact, it was 3 weeks. But that was a group of sellers who were not involved in the business, had sold 4 businesses before, had a finance director who was all over every aspect of the deal, had a data room ready to go, had done vendor due diligence. So due diligence had been done before the offer was even accepted. So the 3-week process, and that was still very quick to do that. But yeah, so if anyone tells you you can get it done in 3 weeks, that's sort of technically true, but that's probably 1 in 100. Reality is, 3 months is a good guidance period, and that's 3 months of work. Like when the builder says he's going to take 3 months to do the extension on your house, what he really means is 5, because he's going to take a month off there, and he's got this charity cycle ride he's doing like my one did.
And that's why I'm talking about timeframes, and it's good for people to be aware that whilst the process, say from getting you on board to sale, could be say 12 months, if that's what it is, but you're thinking 2 years before you've got to do that prep time. So anybody thinking about selling, it's a bit of a 3-year journey. We didn't know that, again, because we hadn't been through it. Another thing, as you said earlier, a lot of your clients they'll do it once, and that's them done. And it's just for people to understand that it does take time. It's not like selling a house or buying a house. It doesn't happen within 4 to 6 weeks or however long that takes. So it's trying to understand that, and it's managing people's expectations, because you come back to the trust and you're building that relationship. But it's the managing expectations. And I think for people who haven't gone through that sale process, whilst we're commercial individuals, we didn't know some of the terminology and things like that. And I think that's where you rely on people like yourself to give you that advice. That's what that means. This is what's going to happen. Because, and again, hopefully, in time with Tidal, we'll be able to give people that advice before the advisors come on board.